Hello. I.
Good evening.
Good morning. Yeah, morning Ashiwan.
I can't hear
Okay.
you.
Oh, you can't hear me. Can you hear me now?
It's a bit better. Maybe
A bit better. Let me see.
I can hear you now.
So is it like okay now?
Yeah.
Why can I hang this?
We want it on the collar.
I don't get color for you like this.
That one to na collar.
Yee. We get yeah. Psh.
It's not good.
Oh man. So I think that's that.
Did a lot of people register for the event?
I think we have about 55 registered.
That's a lot. Though. But there are currently plenty on campus anyway.
Hmm. Frau Fatoki. Guten Abend.
Hello, good evening.
Good evening. Trust you're doing good. We have 7 minutes more.
Can they still register?
They can still register. It's still open.
And will they be able to access the link before 8? Because
What link is that?
the registration link or the YouTube link.
Yes, I should send that by 55. Remains like 1 more minute. So start in 2 minutes. All right. Guten Tag, good afternoon. Oh, sorry, good evening. Good evening, Frau Ojo and Frau Fatoki.
Evening.
Okay, we can't see your
Good
faces
evening.
yet. Can we see your faces? Okay. Thank you for joining us today on the first edition of the Next Step Graduates Nagelss Graduate Series. And basically, like the name of the webinar states, we are just here to hear from you, hear your experiences, and probably pieces of advice you have for the coming graduates, students in their current 100, 200, 3, or 400 level, and even language learners in general, probably basically not just, people learning at the university, also people learning at a language school. Just your experience in general, feel free to respond to the questions as far and wide as you may. So, before we start with the questions, could you kindly introduce yourself and tell us who you are? Just tell us anything about you. So, let's start with Frau Fatoki.
Okay. My name is Fatoki Feluapo Anna. I am a recent graduate from the University of Ibadan, German and also French. And that's it for now.
Okay. And Frau Ojo, can you tell us something about you?
So my name is Ojo Ademola Mobolade. Most people call me Bola, like the ball. Um, yes, I just graduated from Obafemi Awolowo University as well, BA German, and yes, I think that's it for now.
Okay. Could you shed some light as to how you got into the German language learning journey, how you decided to choose, or why you chose German as a course of study? And yeah, just let's start with that for now. Why did you choose German? Why German? Why not French or Spanish or probably a different field? Why language at all? So, Frau Ujo, you can start now.
Okay.
Well, for me, it was like, okay, my siblings wanted me to do law, right? Because at that time in our house we needed a lawyer. It was a thing between somebody's already doing this, somebody's already doing that. So we needed a lawyer badly in our house. So I was the one that they were pushing to do law. But as at that time, I thought law was you have to read, you have to like reading, and that was not me. So I did everything I could to rebel against law. And then I didn't get admission to Obafemi Awolowo University first time with JAMB, and then law was not even accredited. So I had to pick English. And it was after JAMB, after that JAMB didn't work, and then I did pedigree. And then I met Pelumi. Pelumi was she's my senior from secondary school, and she was the one that first mentioned German to me. And I'm like, German. And then there was a thing then too in pedigree that they always say nobody from English has first class. And me, I'm like, I must have first class. So I was like, I'm not doing English. So when Palumi mentioned German, And I looked it up and I saw that, okay, it's a better option than English. So that was how German started for me.
Oh, well, that's interesting. That's interesting. We'll come back to your story. From Fatoki, can you tell us how you got into German?
Okay. So so I started loving languages, I think, from day one, since all of us started doing French in school. And in secondary school, as much as I was a bit bright, I think my strong subject was always French. And I didn't know why, but I just found it easy. So why did I study German? I had two options. Study law because I can argue, or just look for something else to study. I didn't know why at the time, but I just wanted to go for something I was comfortable doing. So when I heard of, I didn't even know at first that French itself was being taught in schools. So when I heard of German, it was through my brother. He had a friend in my department because he also finished from the University of Ibadan. So he mentioned that one of his friends was studying German and it intrigued me. And that was the reason I said, okay, I'm not going to do French because everybody's doing French. The fact that I just said of German is because more than half of the country knows about French, but less than 1/100 and something of the country know about German. So few people knew about German, and that was why I wanted to do it. I liked the surprise on people's faces when they ask me, okay, what are you planning to study? And I tell them German, and they're like, what is that? So even that enough was a lot of motivation. So that was how I decided to study German. And the first time I came across German was through Duolingo. Like immediately I applied, I started learning on Duolingo. And the first time I learned properly was in the University of Ibadan. So that's how I became a student of German.
Wow, wow, that's very, very interesting. You mentioned that you like arguing and you would have gone for law. Have you been able to,
I
yeah?
I do not particularly like arguing. I just argue a lot.
Have you been able to like see that skill utilized in your German learning progress?
Oh well, in my German learning pro what? Sorry.
Process.
Yeah. So in my journey as a German language student, I've not really had a situation where I needed to argue. Like most times when I need to talk about something, if I'm so sure that I'm right, all I just do is take my phone, search it up on Google, and then show the person. So I don't bother arguing. I mean, but I think what changed me from law is the fact that one thing that is sure is that lawyers have to read a lot.
True, true.
Lawyers have to read a lot, and my least favorite skill is reading. And I'm a more practical person than I am a reader. So I figured that with languages, even if I don't read, or which I must read, but even if I don't read, I can speak the language. Although I didn't know before I stepped into the university that it was beyond reading, it was beyond speaking. I thought, okay, so when I get to UI, even if I don't read my book, all I just need to do is be speaking German with people and I'll pass my exams and graduate with first class. But university surprised me, and yeah, I am.
All right, interesting. Frau Ojo, you mentioned about a friend being of help or influence in your choice of German.
Yes.
Yes.
She just said it that that was what she was coming in for.
Okay.
She didn't say it in such a way that you'd be motivated to want to do it. She just said that was what she was coming in for. And like what Frau Fatuki said, there's a surprise that shows up on people's face when you say you're studying German. Some of them can be condescending at times. They will tell you, what do you want to use German for? Why are you studying German? It takes only insightful people to understand that we are hot people, we are hot cakes. And yes, so she just said it that that was what she was coming in for. And we came in together, and she's one of my G's now. So she didn't, if only she knew, right, that she was one of the reasons why I'm doing it. Yeah, maybe she just said it that that was what she was coming in for, and I clocked it, and I did it. So
Okay. So, importance of should I say friends in our life? Maybe.
You
Okay.
cannot downplay that.
All right. Now moving on to the next question. What were the biggest challenges you faced while studying German, and how did you overcome them? I mean, learning languages or a language in itself is an hurdle on its own, especially in an environment where the language is not predominant. I mean, it's Nigeria, so you have more of Yoruba, English, Pidgin English, Hausa, or Igbo, depending on where you grew up from or where you grew up. So, how were you able to what are the challenges you came across, and how were you able to overcome these challenges and become a graduate of German language today?
Okay, but for me, right, the challenge would be, um, let me break it down, right? So in my own department, like my own set, we have different caliber of people. We knew who were serious, we knew the serious ones, we knew those that were not really looking to work with German after school. We knew people that they just wanted to study and have a degree and be done with it. So one of the challenges was first finding which caliber to belong to, right? You as a like a fresher, you would, be everywhere. And for me, I volunteered as a class representative, which I didn't find funny starting my German journey because most of them called me Margaret Thatcher. I don't know why, but I was a bit on the strict side. So that was one of my own challenges, right? Having to, know which clique to fit into. And then another thing was what we were being taught in school was different from what you need to, be a German speaker. So there was a conflict between what you're being taught in school and what you need to be a proficient German speaker. That was another conflict. Another conflict was, getting the right place, getting the right help from people to overcome these things. And another challenge was passing school exams and, you know, all of these things. And another one was also getting the GOTE certifications, which was like the peak of all the problems. But how did I get through it? For me, at first, I dropped the class rep role thing. I just sidelined myself because I knew that hateful words get to me, even though I don't put it on my face, I don't show it most times. So the fact that people had that kind of perception of me, it drew me back. So I just I volunteered myself from being a class rep and I just stepped back. And then for the clique thing, I kind of find my friends, right, the ones that were willing to grow with me. Let's hold ourselves by the hand and grow together. I lost a couple of my good friends at that point, which is fine. We make friends, we lose some, we win some. And then the certification exam thing, I enrolled in language place. There was a long strike, I think in 2023. So I joined language place at that time, and that was when I started. I started from A2, right? I think I was in part two. I just finished part two. I can't really remember, but I started from A2, so it lowered my ego. Ah, part two students joining part one in A2, so it kind of you have to be serious. So I did A2. Then B1, I had help from language place because all the people that were there, it's like a big family in a small building. So went enrolled in a language school to get my certification and then wrote the German exam. And I also mentioned Dr. Lagunju. He would always tell us in class, there's nothing with German if you don't have your GOTE certificate, this, that. So the right people were there. I made right friends. At the point that I stopped going to language place, you were one of the people that also helped me because I remember sending you my Schreiben at that point for corrections. So yes, you cannot do some of these things without people and isolating yourself sometimes.
Okay, thank you very much for that, Frau Fatoki.
Okay, so my challenges. Okay. I would say that my biggest challenge was me, myself. I was my problem.
Hmm.
So I have a very strong head, and I think it's made the journey tough because immediately I entered UI and I saw that they in okay, so in UI, once you are studying German, or you're studying religious studies, or you're studying English, whatever the course you're studying, you have to take a number of units. So with German, out of like 45 required units, I had just 27 from German. So I had to either combine with another language or borrow from other departments. And I knew that I came to school for languages. I did not want to go to another department. I did not want to do it, except maybe I just want to attend their classes, but I did not want it to be a judge of what my grade will be at the end of the day. So my first big, huge decision was combining with French. And I would say maybe that wasn't my biggest challenge, but it was one of my biggest challenges, combining German with French. Because as language students, I believe that you both understand how hard it is to learn another man's language. Like nobody around me speaks it except I'm in school where all of us are all struggling and all that. So the biggest challenge was trying to learn everything you might have learned in French, in German, but also in French. Trying to combine both of them in the same pace, balance both of them, don't pass one more than the other, and all that. And then I would say my other challenge was the fact that aside studying, I had the eager and urge to also participate in other things. I mean, I served in a lot of committees, volunteered in a lot of programs, did a lot of things in school. In fact, sometimes I ask myself why I did some things, but I just did it. So time management, I would say time management was my biggest challenge, trying to do everything at once. So I fell sick a lot of times and I would just eat fast, go back to it again, heal fast, go back to it again. And this affected a lot of things, especially speaking. I mean, writing in German, reading in German was not hard, but speaking, in fact, speaking was more difficult for me than listening. So my biggest challenge was speaking the language because at that time in my department, everywhere you would, even I was one of the people that if somebody speaks German around me, I'm like, don't stress me, speak English. So I think that was one big challenge. And the fact that while we are trying to speak, while we are trying to listen, we're also trying to read about Adolf Hitler, we're trying to read about Otto von Bismarck, we're trying to read about Emmanuel Macron, a lot of things. So it was a lot of things at once. So balancing things was my biggest challenge. And if you ask me how I overcame it or overcame them, I would say I did not, I have not. And I still don't think I will anytime soon. But I've learned to manage everything. So rather than overcoming these challenges, I've learned to manage the challenges, know how to go about them. Okay, when am I supposed to read French? When am I supposed to read German? How can I manage my learning? So I think one of the things that I made sure that I did or that I do still is not do things alone. So before I combined German with French, I was sure that it was not only me doing it. It is me and six other people in my level and many others in other levels. So I wanted, or I always want to have somebody to do things with so as to be able to cope. So my friends, my seniors, even my juniors helped in like really balancing things out. So in terms of grades, I would say my results or my achievements are not mine alone because I had people to support me to achieve them. So, and then in terms of also serving in different organizations or participating in sports or things like that, it was people that helped me manage it. So, like I said, I would not say I've overcome my challenges. I would say I'm learning to manage them and maybe soon I will overcome them. I mean, when I start to speak German the way I'm speaking English right now, then I will know that, okay, I've overcome one challenge.
Okay. So the highlight from you both responses was having your click basically. Frau just said finding the right people. You said hanging or having someone to do things with or people to do things with. So basically it's more like in the process of learning the language, having the right people to encourage you, to keep you in check, to do the task with is it the speaking tasks, the reading tasks, just doing things with people helps a lot. So I think that I also agree with that, and yeah, thanks for sharing. Moving on to the next question. What helped you most in improving your German within the classroom and outside the classroom? How did you improve on your German? So let's start with Frau Fatoki this time around.
Okay. How did I improve my German? Hmm. Okay, so the first factor was the fact that I had wonderful lecturers. I mean, there's a lecturer that stands out. His name is Dr. Sende, and he's someone that would help you revisit what you don't know yet if you walk up to him. So within the classroom, my lecturers were of great help. Like it was easy to, and unfortunately, but fortunately, I am not shy around my lecturers. So it was easy to walk up to them, ask questions, which I did less than half of the time, but I still did. So within the classroom, um, I can say I'm one of those students that classmates don't like because they always ask questions. So I think my first year, second year, even if it was a foolish question, you would always see my hand up because I actually do not know that thing. So coping in the classroom was more about seeking knowledge from lecturers first. And in a situation where I know that I'm not able to ask or I ask and still don't understand, I just ask classmates that were also in the class. If I want to know, really, sometimes I don't really care. I'm like, enough German for today. But when I do want to know, I ask questions. And outside the classroom, what helps me with German? First thing is movies, German movies. I mean, if there's one thing I enjoy doing is watching movies, so why not make use of the movies to try to know something? So when I watch movies, even if it's just 2 or 3 words, I'll take them home. And also the fact that I would say I'm not the kind of person that reads every day per se, but whenever I have tests or exams or assignments coming up, I read. So not reading alone outside class was also a factor, making sure, okay, if I'm reading this, I'm not reading nonsense because there has been a lot of situations where I'm reading something and it's just, I'm reading nonsense. Like, I think I'm reading right. And because I'm reading with someone, the person says, oh, no, that's not the context. This is the context and all that. And also the fact that I've been exposed to a lot of situations where I'm in the same space with people that actually speak good German. So we have had workshops. I've been able to attend about 3 workshops thereabouts. One was in Nigeria here where we had some students come from other countries. Another was in Benin when we went to um act a play in German. So and also when we traveled to Germany, especially when we had that 1 week program. That was the first time I was exposed to people that were fluent and they were also students. And these people did not understand English. They only understood French or German because they were French people. So we're not French like from France, but they lived in Benin, Togo, and Cameroon. So they only understood French or German. And my German is rusty, but my French is rustier, if that's the word. So I had no choice but to speak that German that was the easiest for me at the point. So no matter what, I needed them to understand me because we were put in the same group, we're told to do things together. I had to speak German. So outside the class, I think that put me on my toes to be able to say something, and it improved my speaking. The first time was hard, the second time was easier, and on and on. And same thing when we were able to travel, that one was even funnier because you would meet a German, they can speak English, but they will intentionally not speak English with you because they expect that you should know German. So outside class, that was also a lot of help and all. So basically all I'm trying to say, please forgive my storytelling, but all I'm trying to say is that outside class is also people that help me to grow.
Okay. Frau Joe.
Um, yes, there's nothing new to add to what she already said, except to say my own experience, which is close to from Fatoki's experience. In the classroom, you will still be lecturers. I had just three German lecturers during my own undergraduate days. Well, it feels good to say undergraduate days, anyways. So I just had three lecturers from my part one to part four. But at every point that each one of them could tease you for not being a good German student, they would. And sometimes those teasing could touch the wrong muscle. So yes, all lecturers were of help to, build each and every one of us. For those that want to be built, right? For those that want to be built, nobody's going to put pressure on you to do what you don't want to do. So for those that they see that they can carry, they can push, they would push you, they would carry you. And outside the classroom, of course, it's still my friends. This is one thing that me and my friends do. I have a clique of about what six, but we started off as 3, 4, and then we added two other people towards the head. But what we do is when we want to write GOTE exams, right? We don't write, one person doesn't write alone, right? So we write in our clique. So if everybody's writing for February, we know that from maybe December, we're reading. And until everybody gets it, everybody's helping. Either way, they can help. And for school exams, we also do the same thing. We choose a day. If you have exam in the coming week, we choose a day, maybe 2 days to come to campus and we bulk read. And if this person understands this topic, they would put us through. They will put the rest of the clique through. And if it's another person that understands the topic, we all have our weaknesses and our strengths. So like we used each and everybody's strength and weakness to help our strengths and our weaknesses. I don't know if you understand that, but that's what we did. So yes, outside the classroom, in the classroom, there were people. But another thing that shaped me personally, my siblings are go-getters, right? They are very, very hardworking. So from them, I'm the last one. So he kind of hired this a push to always, I cannot be the lesser one, I cannot be the different one. So he was on my back that my siblings are doing really well. So I have to do it myself. So I will not be the one that they will be pointing at, yeah, only Koshida, she's the one that is not doing well wherever she is. So that was another thing outside of the classroom for me. And of course, I had people around me that were not doing German and they were also doing well. So I had a lot of, you can't be less, you can't do less for yourself of people around me. And then another thing that the crown on top of all these things was the trip to Germany. And it was from the Frankfurt airport that I knew that something has to change because the world out there is different. It's not the tatata German that I came with, right? And at the time of the trip, I had just written my B1. I was waiting for my B1 result. So when we got there, even though I would still speak my tatata German at the time, me, I was not scared to speak my tatata German. I will make my mistakes. If doctor could correct me, good. If Rotimi could correct me, good. I will still speak it anyway. But that trip practically changed everything for me. I knew that there was more outside of Bafemi. I knew that there was another life that I cannot cope with, I cannot deal with if I don't have a higher level of German. And I think for most of my friends that were on that trip, all of us, our orientation changed from that trip. We knew that there was something that we had to come back to. There was something that we had to take back out if we were leaving. So, yes.
Okay.
Yep.
Fatoke is talked about some movies or you watched movies outside of class. Is there any movie in particular that stood out to you in the process of learning the language?
Okay. Fun fact. I watch a lot of movies,
Okay.
but I forget the title immediately I'm done with the movie.
Okay.
It's a big problem. I don't know why, but
I mean, I
I
think.
forget the title immediately. So
Okay.
I'm sorry.
All right. All right. All right.
I think there's
Um.
Balumi recently told me about Clear. I just saw it myself anyway. But there's this Easy German podcast that I use. Well, there's an app on the iPhone that has podcasts. So if you put German, maybe beginners German, you're going to see a lot of podcasts come up on stuff that you can listen to. And then there's Tagesschau, that's like a daily news report in Germany. So you can easily listen to that as well to improve your listening and your hearing. But there's nothing you can do except speak to improve your expression. If you can have a maximum capacity in hearing and in listening and even in writing, but speaking is another flex on its own. So you need to actually speak to improve your speaking.
Okay. Thank you very much. Now, on to the next question. For students preparing for GOTY or university exams, what worked for you and what would you advise them to avoid? Preparing for either the GOTY exams or the university exams marked by the lecturers, what's worked for you and what would you advise that don't do this, avoid this? So let's start with Frau Ojo.
For the GOTE exam, what worked for me and what should they do, what they shouldn't do. We're different, right, in different ways. But for me, I know how to pressure read. If I have exam in a month, I know how to crash read for that 1 month. And I'm going to do what I have to do and I'm going to get it. So what I did was as at that time I bought two journals, two small journals, and then I split them into two. I was using one for listening and scribing, I was using one for the other two. And what I did was I had so did not knock, I had vex stats, I had every of those past questions or possible questions, whatever they call it. I had so much that I answered part time. And there were orens on YouTube that I used for different levels. So I kept using it. Today I will score 3 again. Next one I score 5 again. Another time I'll score 15 improvement. There were even times that I felt like I was already improving, and then I'll do one and I'll score 3. There was the time I was preparing for B2. I was preparing with Pelumi at the time, and we'll do the oral. Maybe today was the same oral. No, today we scored 3. I tell Pelumi, I have exam in July. I'm scoring 3. The next day we'll try it again. Maybe you score 1. But I scored 3 yesterday. So some of these things, there's no fixed way to mastering it. But what worked for me was repeated exercises. And yes, I remember that I sent you almost 2 copies of one Sherman, like 2 different versions, the one that you corrected and the one that I had worked on after I had corrected it. So yes, have people that are, what's it called now, other than you in German. For example, if you have like a B1 stage now, somebody that has a B2 is older than you. So you can walk up to somebody that has a B2 and then he can help correct your Shermans. That's the only thing that they can correct basically. But the listening and the oral and the speaking, you can send them voice notes and have them listen to it, have them correct what you've said. But the hearing and the listening, you just have to read. You just have to have more words in your vocabulary. And that's where maybe movies will come in, reading, listening to the news will come in, reading short stories. There was one thing that we always read then, Kindergeschichte, that's child stories. As weird as it sounds, you learn a lot of words from Kindergeschichte, right? You will learn new words from them and their child stories. So now the process is not you to feel like me, a old big person reading child story. You are the one that knows what you're looking for. You are the one that knows what you need. So you're not going to look at the process of getting what you need and how to get it or how long it takes to get it. If you have a set goal, you will do everything to get to that set goal. So yes, you have to do a lot of me. I did a lot of back-to-back reading, and I don't know how to read from, if I have something to do in March, I don't know how to read from last year's March. I don't know how to do it. So what I do is when it's close and then I start to read like my life depends on it, and it has always worked, and I don't advise you to do it if you cannot pressure read, so that
And what would you advise that they avoid?
avoid don't be too confident, right? Let me say my own story. When I wrote my B1, I really did well with my B1. And I went with that overconfidence to write my B2. And I failed too. And when I failed too, it broke me. But it took me back to think about it, that like what happened. I did not fail. One, I had 47 or so. And the other one, I think I had 53 or 57. I can't remember. And the second time I did, they had 57, 57. It was that one that completely ruined me. But I'm like, people cannot just give me, they cannot just give me, excuse me, you cannot just give me one mark, one question and let me go. But yes, don't feel too confident, right? That, oh, you know this thing, because it's not your mother's tongue, like everybody would say. So sometimes you can make mistakes out of pressure. Sometimes you can mishear things or hear things wrongly. So yes, don't feel over. It's good to be confident. There's a confidence that comes with, oh, I cannot fail. That's one. But if you are confident that you cannot fail and you're not doing what you ought to do to not fail, you will fail. So there's a place of being confident and doing the right things to boost your confidence. And there's a place of overconfidence and you're just sitting down there, yes, maybe I wrote the exam in February. I'm still fresh. I can try again in March. It doesn't work that way. So don't be overconfident. Know what works for you, to be very honest. Don't use somebody's pattern, right? Some people are good with reading all night. Me, I cannot read all night because I cannot cheat my body of sleep. So sometimes what I do is I read till late, a little bit late in the night. Maybe I start from evening and I stop at around 1 and I sleep. Some people start at 1 till dawn. So know what works for you. Avoid using people's pattern. So because I've said I pressure read now, you now go and go back and pressure read. Avoid stuff like that. Learn yourself, know what works for you, and do what works for you.
Okay.
Yeah.
Mfrafat, okay.
Okay. So for Gote, what worked for me? Well, I would say practicing past questions and watching YouTube videos, even TikTok, those things they helped me. And I would I would use that to hand what worked for me. Now, what to not do? When I wanted to write the GOTE exam, there was no application coming up or anything coming up. I just wanted to write something outside UI exam. So I one thing I usually do, which is very bad, which I don't think I'll be doing anymore, is I usually want to, whenever I want to write professional exams, because even when I wrote onset, I did not read so much. I would just brush through and say, let me go and write the exam. Let me see where I am without preparing. So in my head, I was just about, let me see my level of German and all that. So I know myself that my German is not terrible and is not so wonderful, but it is reasonable. But I was of the assumption that if you go for GOTE exam, you don't really need to do so much deep reading. Just go, if you know the German, you know the German and all that. So if you can say B1 German, then you should be able to pass the reading and the writing. So at that time I was preparing for the exam, I had a lot of past questions. In fact, when some other people ask me for materials now, it's always easy for me to send it to them because I have a ton of past questions and all. But did I read them as I should have? I did not. In fact, it was on the day of exam that I was discovering some new things that should be in my scribing. Because I was of the opinion that, okay, we have written essay in school, we have done essay writing in school, so we should be able to use that same method for the GOTE scribing. But unfortunately for me, but fortunately I saw it, there's a way you start your behind scribing for GOTE. There's a way you conclude. There's something you need, the radiometer, the necessary words, the necessary phrases that should be in your exam. That was one. Then also for lazing, there were some situations that I would practice some past questions, and especially the part where we had to match a job description to a job opening or skills description to a job opening, that kind of thing. So while I was practicing, I never came across a question that there was no answer for. So when I went to write the exam, I did not prepare myself for a question that didn't have an answer. I believe that every question had an answer. So that one was also a problem because at the end of the day, there were actually questions that didn't have answers. So I would say if I'm going to give an advice for GOTE especially is to practice, like actually practice the past questions. Write it, know what you score in one, know what you did wrong when you wrote it, things like that. Like don't assume that okay, because I just want to test my level. Because I just want to test my level, let me just go. And when I wrote my Bay 1 exam, I passed my expression, I passed my oral listening and speaking, but I did not pass listening, reading, and I did not pass scribing because they were looking for something I did and I didn't have it. And basically, it was because I would not say it was overconfidence, but it was more of unpreparedness because I did not use the proper, I had the resources, but I did not use the resources the way I was supposed to use them. And then also carrying people along. If I had told people at the beginning of my reading that this is the way I'm reading, they would have told me, oh, don't read that way. This is how you should read because Gote is different. It's not UI and all that. Then for UI exams, what worked for me was always knowing my lecturers. So I know the lecturer that wants story. I know the lecturer that does not want story. I know the lecturer that wants what they gave you the same way they gave it to you. Sha, just download it for them. But don't cry. But if you can't cry. So download it for them. And also reading. I did not read ahead, like I said. You probably not even see me reading until like 5 days or 3 days to exam. In fact, sometimes the night before the exam, that's when I'm opening the material. But I pay attention in class. And I fall asleep a lot in class. But I know what they say in class. So um knowing the lecturers, knowing what the course is about, so that when I want to do personal research, I know the context in which I'm supposed to read. And what to not do is not in university exams. A lot though, but in short, don't know it all, basically. When I'm preparing for my exams, my class especially, whenever it's the exam period, our group has the most messages. You would see somebody dropping something, Alpha, what are you reading? This is what I'm reading. Read it. Even if you don't feel like reading, just like you don't have to assimilate. Just know that okay, oh, you read about the policy of assimilation. So when you sit in your exam, you know that policy of assimilation is this. You don't know the full story, but you can say something about it. So always know something about everything. So whenever you see any piece of information, open your ears, make sure you're listening, and that you actually carry people along and be carried along. So for university exams is more about understanding the system. And for GOTE is more about understanding the system. And one thing that stands out is do not ever compare university to proficiency exams outside university because university exams are more theoretical than practical. First day or first few minutes in Gote, you already know that okay, I did not I did not come here to play. In fact, I came to play. These people are serious. It's knives I brought, whereas it's guns they use in this place and all that. So and I'll say that's it for now. So overconfidence is not really it. It's just about be knowledgeable, know something. Like I'm not talking no German now, like info, laugh info, that kind of thing. So have information in your hand because it does a lot, basically.
Okay. Frau Ojo, you basically focused on go to exams. You didn't really talk about OAU exams. Do you want to
Yes.
say anything else about that?
For school, for OAU exams, like Fafatoki said, you have to know your lecturers. In fact, that's what you need to pass in OAU. For example, there's a lecturer that if they give you a material, they expect you to go back home, dissect it, put it in your own words. If you have test or exam, give them your own words of what they give you. There is another lecturer that prefers you giving them what she has given you. Just don't stress them. Just give them back the way. See, that 2 lines, just give it back. Now, there's another one that doesn't even want his own words safe. Your opinion. It's just your opinion that they need. So for every exam, you cannot go into somebody that wants their own words back. You cannot go into that exam with a story. You will not pass. It's not course.
You may pass, so you may be lucky. You never can tell.
I think it depends on maybe the person's mood that time. Because if I've given you 2 lines and I want to mark your script and I see it ticks me off, I can leave it and come back to mark it. So I think you should go into every lecturer's exam with the mindset of who they are and a preparedness of giving them the type of things that they want and like, so that you will not be failing unnecessarily. Now, there is also the place of there are tutorials on campus that they do and they treat past questions. Past questions are very, very helpful most times. They are repeated questions, they are repeated what's it called, topics that you may not have idea on how the question will come. And then when you go to these tutorials, you see possible ways that these questions can be asked, even if it's not going to be the same questions, but you have an idea of what to expect, especially for freshers, right? If you go to these tutorials, you may not have an idea of what the exam will look like per course. So if you go to these tutorials and then you get to ask questions, you get to, meet people that can actually help you. It's not that one that all of you are doing about on campus, doing gallivanting around the corridors. No. But you actually get real life help and real life, what's it called now? People that have gone through those exams, because nobody's going to teach you tutorials if they have not written an exam and passed. So go to tutorials. Those can be very, very helpful. And yes, OAU exams and GOTE exams, there are two bridges that can never meet. They can never cross. Like she said, you go to GOTE. Me, the time that I went, I even dripped. I wore jeans, wore stickers. But it still came out of me because they were not playing truly, because from the gate, everybody's speaking German, and if you are dead, you don't understand anything. Even if you know something, the way they just behave there, you will feel like you don't know anything. There are times that what you want to respond with has flown off your head because of you're seeing people speaking German and you're just there with your A2A1 that you came to say. So like school exams and GOTE exams are two different words. So you have to know that for this word, this is what I need to do. For this word, this is what I need to do. Don't combine the two, if not. Jumabo. So yes.
Okay, thank you. Moving on to the next question. How did studying German shape your academic direction or your career thinking or access to opportunities? Studying German, how did it shape your academic direction or and your career thinking or and access to opportunities?
Who is going first?
Okay.
My academic journey, that one first. So for my academic direction, I would say that the fact that when I was planning to register for JAMP, or not, like at the time I was planning to register for JAMP, everybody thought I was going to register for law, including my parents. So the fact that I chose something that they had never heard of to start with was my biggest motivation. I have to let them know that it is actually worth something, and I chose it with my 2 hands. They did not throw me there. So I have to show why I chose it. If I could choose it myself, then I should be able to cope. So the fact that I studied German was the shape I needed, the motivation I needed to be able to achieve the not so little, but little things that I was able to achieve as a German student. Like anytime I want to give up, I'm like, oh, okay, let me use my hand to pick this thing. So I have to see it to the end and know that what I gain from it is actually good. Now, career thinking. I have some little skills that I have, be it management skills or media skills or sport or anything. And whenever I find myself in a situation where I have to apply for something, be it an internship program or volunteering program or maybe leadership program, if I'm in the midst with people that can't speak any other language aside English and their native tongue, it gives me an edge. So, in terms of my career thinking, if you ask me right now, my future ambition is to be successful. How I want to get there, I don't know the particular way. I have a lot of ways in my head, but I just want, I mean, I have goals that I want to achieve. But if you say, okay, do you want to become a doctor? Do you want to become this? Do you want to become that? I do not particularly have one thing that I know that I want to do. I mean, I want to be, but or I want to do, but I know what I want to be at the end of the day. So basically, what I'm trying to say is that in terms of my career thinking, it has helped me realize that with German, I can achieve a lot of things. Now, if you remember, I said that I also combine with French. So the fact that I studied German is one thing. But even in the midst of people that study German, I still have another edge, the fact that I can speak two languages. So I have this pride, I don't know whether I call it ego, that if I am on the same level with somebody and I need to achieve something with this person, I just need two things, God's grace and my two languages. So it has helped me see that, oh, okay, I can achieve a lot. Like the reason we don't exactly know what we want to do specifically is because there are many things to do. It's not the job where you can work everywhere, but it is the job where you can work anywhere. Like I used to work anywhere. Like is I mean, so what's the name? Skill or attribute or anything like that. So it has helped me see that I can achieve a lot. And then in terms of opportunities, I I left this country for the first time in my life because of Jama, and I did not pay a dime. So I didn't even have to say, like, you would see people say, and even when we left that time, you see people say, I felt, but you said you were broke last week. I was broke. It was not my money that carried me from Nigeria to another country. So just from onset, I was able to enter plane and go to another continent. If I now have better German, if I have maybe I have a B2 in German or B2 in French, both of them together, there are a lot of things I could achieve with it. And also, a few weeks ago, was it last week? A few weeks ago, when one of my classmates just posted herself out there, and because of that, it opened more opportunities for the rest of us because we put ourselves out there first because of her. So we have not really had to ask these questions ourselves. We have experienced this most of the time because before we even think of doubting, God has done another wonder and we're already house there again. So that really helped to help me know my value as a person.
Okay, thank you so much for your response. Frau Joe, what do you have to say?
My own academic journey was not easy. There was a point in my part one second semester, and they released part one results, and I had one E. I remember calling my sister that day that I already packed my box. I'm going I'm going back home. And I remember that when they released part three results as well, I cried my eyes out because it was at that point I knew that okay, first class was not going. It was I was not going to get a first class anymore. And in as much as I did all I could to get a first class, um my father math teacher used to say you shoot the money. If you don't fall with the money, you will fall among the stars or however that thing is said. In as much as I didn't graduate with what I wanted, but what I had was not terrible, it was not bad. And I can say that I graduated amongst one of the best people in my class, which is a big flex. And for the direction, me, I knew from the start, especially after we came back from Germany, that I don't have any other thing to hit apart from German. I knew that that was my way, that was my calling. In fact, at that time, if you tell me, "Will you go to US?" I say, "Mm-mm, I'm going to Germany." "Will you go to here?" "Mm-mm, I'm going to Germany." I knew that somehow that was how I wanted, that was where I wanted to go. But when the opportunity came to go, of course I went. Even though we paid, it was not the scholarship. We were one of the people that pioneered the scholarship for Freiburg now, which is also by the way. And then the access to opportunities, I'll tell you, if you know what you have, there's no limit to what you can achieve. For example, I've had people message to say, oh, they have this organization that they want to teach German. Don't get me wrong, I teach. But under an organization, I feel like I'm going to be underpriced, I'm going to be undervalued. I know my value. That's why I'm not choosing to go under anybody to teach. I would rather I would rather freelance than go under somebody. That's me knowing my value. That's me knowing the opportunities that I have. And I can tell you that teaching is the least. That's like you're just scraping the tip of the goat. You have not gotten anywhere. This was a conversation I was having with somebody like 2 weeks ago when the UI drama came up. And I said that for language students that have graduated, there is an access to information that we have as at graduation that you would already have like your life lined out. What do I mean? Before I graduated, I already knew that there was DAED. I know that there was Erasmus Mundus. I knew that there was CARS. I knew that there was scholarship that I could apply for after school. And I'm not sure somebody in English would know that, right? So me, I as a German, I think everybody from my own set, they knew that, especially for those that wanted to do German, they knew that they had this they could do. They knew that they could do house building, they could do this, they could do that. So career path after school, career plan after school. Me personally, right now, if you ask me, I want to do my master's. And how am I going to do it? I'm going to do it without paying a dime. I'm sure. So if you are there looking for money to go somewhere, I wish you all the best. But me, in my heart of mind, I know that I'm going to do my master's anywhere in the country and I'm not going to pay a dime. So career plan as it is, it takes what you know to get what you want, to be very honest, like she said. So you first off you have to know. Now I don't, if you ask me, I know what I want to do in my master, so that's like I know what I want to do. But after then, what next? God will figure will figure it out. But you have access to so much, right? You have access to so much you have access to so much opportunities. You have access to be whatever you want to be. For example, if you do tech or if you're into tech and you did German, tech like was your side something or was your side gig and then you did German, I can promise you that there are companies in Germany or anywhere that would, maybe if you have a B2 or if you have a B1, they could sponsor you and you could come and work for them. I don't box myself up, to be very honest. Yorubas will say me, "Koyan mi kere." I don't do that to myself. I don't limit myself. So however it is, right, the opportunities, that one is not, I didn't start it. It didn't start from now. There has always been opportunities. People have gotten scholarships, even people that didn't do German. And I used to tell myself that if somebody that did engineering, right, has opportunity to go to Germany, how much more me that I spent close to 6 years studying their language? They don't know how to create anything for me. So the opportunities, there's a way that you can figure out your life plans with the opportunities that are available. So you don't have to box yourself up or feel like, will something good come out of this German. I can promise you, there's too much goodness in German. And I hate to see that the world is just seeing us now. Like the person I was conversing with said German that they've been doing since 1990, tipe, tipe. And it's true. People have been doing German since, but you are just coming to our reality now. We've seen it, right? We've kind of experienced it. Those that have experienced it have experienced it. And those that have not experienced it, I hope that you experience it because you will not remain the same. And that's the fact. You cannot do German or any language whatsoever. But now, because we are the kings of the streets, you cannot do German and you want to cut your pounded yam so small. When you can have a hip, you will now be doing small. No, no, no. Don't do that to yourself. So, yes, the opportunities. There's a way life gives you lemonade. All these wounded lawyers, there's a way you make lemonades out of the limes that you have right now. So yes, don't feel too less.
Okay, thank you very much. The long and short of it is basically the opportunities available, and as someone that speaks German, either you studied at the university or at a language school, the opportunities you can explore. So, yeah, the next question, we should be rounding up soon. Looking back, what do you wish you had known earlier as a German student? I mean, you came into German to study German, and there are probably some things you didn't know back then. So if you were to probably meet your younger version that got the admission then to come and study German or decide to study German, what would you wish the person knew? What would you probably tell the person that okay, watch out for these things or know these things, or basically what do you wish you knew back then that's would probably influence what you are now? Frau Joe?
Okay, so if I was starting again, first off, it's too late to say don't do SS3, right? It's too late to say don't do SS3. Forget BS, forget graduation. It's a waste of time. But it's too late to do that now. But as a fresher, part one, part two, get your certification. Your OAU degree is not, or whatever school degree is not that deep. Most times your degree needs the GOTE certification for them to believe that, okay, yes, you have something. Because there are a lot of people that they pass on paper. What differentiates you from somebody that has a German degree or another school degree is the certification. It shows that you can actually relate in the real life, in the German real life. So I would tell my younger self as a part one, in fact, part one, that part two service is looking a little bit too late, but it's still not too late. Part one, part two, if you can get to your B2, please do. Why? Because it is from then that you begin to build opportunities. And let me say something like a cheat code. There's no way you get maybe the first that DAD scholarship that's for 2 weeks or a month, and another opportunity will come and they will reject you. It is always very, very hard. Because these people know that okay, for this organization to have given this person this scholarship, this person is good. So it's an edge, right, above all other things that you've had one scholarship before. And there's no way you get that scholarship with just your OAU degree or your UI degree. No, you need certification. And thank God for UI that they have onset. If you don't have money for what's it called? GOTE exam, there's onset that they organize periodically. I think I wrote B1 at the point. Yes, I wrote B1, onset B1 at the point. So yes, you can write onsets and then use these things. And you cannot say you are not socially inclined. You miss out a lot. Some of the opportunities that most of us know, we got it from either LinkedIn or a senior colleague mentioned it, or they posted it. So you cannot say you're focusing on school and you remove yourself from social media. How do you want to be up to date? Right. So you cannot completely log yourself off the world. And most of these older colleagues, they are not within proximity. It's before that you see your senior colleague on the corridor and you go and walk up to the person. Most of them are doing well for themselves. They are not in the country at the moment. So how do you want to see somebody to help you if you are not socially active or interacting? So you need to have, what's it called now? You need to be socially active so that you keep up with people that can actually help you. And then you have to, what's this word now? you have to also prepare yourself. Put yourself in, there are some positioning that you put yourself that opportunities cannot miss you. So if you're in part two, and you don't have your B1 and your B2, this is your cue to go and start it. So that by the time that opportunities come up, you are not, it's not then that you're running eta sketa, and get your international passport. My lecturer used to say, you never know when the opportunity will come. Get your international passport. It's a bold step of faith, right? You don't have anywhere that you're going to, but you never know when the trip will come up. Is it that time that you want to start running for the passport? So yes, so do strategic things, like you're actually planning a real future for yourself. So get your certifications as early as possible and get a passport.
Okay, thank you. From Fatoki.
Okay, so personally, I don't have any regrets with how my undergraduate year journey went, especially the time I chose to write my proficiency exam. But if I were to advise somebody that would come as a student, especially to UI, I don't know about other schools, but the period between when you start applying for German in UI and when you resume first semester is a bit long. It's more than 6 months. I wrote JAM March 2020. I gained admission May 2021. I resumed 100 level January 2022. So I had 1.5 years plus in between when I knew I was studying German and when I finally started studying German. So if I had known that besides Duolingo and UI, you could write, not particularly write the exams, you could learn German. So I came to UI with little to no knowledge. But if I could have, if I knew, I would have gone for German classes, enrolled in language schools and all that. So there's one thing I wish I knew at the earlier stage of being a German student towards asking for information, like knowing things about what you were coming to. I didn't even know any of my classmates until I came to school. It was when I got to school that I met my classmates for the first time, whereas there were some that already met each other. There were some that already started taking classes. I have classmates that had B1 before they even gained admission in French, by the way, not in German, but asking for information and knowing things, like that's what I would have done better. So even if I had not written the exam at that point, I would have been able to write it at an earlier stage because if I came and I saw that, okay, I can speak German, I would have wanted to improve. Because in UI, the first time you are in school, you already know that there are opportunities. I got my passport done in, was it 100 level or right before I gained admission? Like, I knew there were opportunities lying around waiting per se, not waiting per se, but I knew about the opportunities. I just did not know the level of preparedness that I needed. So if I had something to do better, I would have been to ask for information from people that do better.
Okay. No, get information from people that know better. Interesting. Now, the next question. What concrete advice would you give to current students, either in the 100 or 200 or 300 or 400 level, to not feel overwhelmed or uncertain? I mean, the process, the 4 years plus ASU strike here and there, and everything the Nigerian system. So, what would you advise the current students so as not to just don't feel overwhelmed, don't feel uncertain? What advice can you give in regards to that? So, Farafat, okay, do you want to start?
Okay, so to not feel overwhelmed, I don't think there is any advice to give language students to not feel overwhelmed, but because you will definitely feel overwhelmed. But I think I can give advice to students on how to handle themselves after they are already overwhelmed. So, first would be to have one thing that you love to do, something that you can get your mind off every other thing and can just blow off steam. For me, that was football. In fact, when I broke my leg, it was more motivation for me to want to play the football. It's people that hold me back. So whenever I had a lot of, sometimes I would leave class. 100 level was crazy. I would leave class, next place is field, after field, to the bathroom, to my bed. Next morning, class, field, bed. That was how I was doing it. So I had something to blow off steam. And also to take things step by step, like one at a time. If you want to, I know you want to achieve B1, you want to do B2, but first know that you're on A1 first before you say you want to go to A2, before you say you want to go to B1 or B2 and all that. But the one that is most important um is to look for something to get your mind off your problems, try to relax, and then also speaking to people. If you have things overwhelming you, if you don't speak to somebody that can help you, you will not know the person can help you. So speak to people. Don't like lock everything up in your chest. Your chest is not big. The human's heart is not bigger than the human's chest. So basically, that's it.
Okay. Uh, have something you love to do basically. That's like my takeout from there. Have an hobby. I think many Nigerian students or yeah, many Nigerian students don't really like engage themselves in their hobbies because they are focusing on tests and exams and the like. So having your hobby and actively, practicing that hobby, not just abandoning it is very, very good. Thank you. Fraujo, what do you have to say?
Well, let me add a little thing to what Rafatoki said. Is there everybody that even understands their hobbies? For example, if you ask me now what's my hobby, I'll just look for what comes to my head immediately and I say to you, like, my hobby is singing, my hobby is dancing, even though I can't sing and dance, right? But you have to actually know within yourself that if I do this thing, I can let off steam. That's by the way.
Football, football is not my hobby.
Okay.
In fact, I don't love to play football. What I love is the result of playing football.
Okay.
When I'm on the road running for my life, chasing ball, where is the time to think about Gemma? That's the idea. So like it's the easiest way for me to, if I could run, like I can't run for long because okay, I would start having stomachache because I'm very unfit. So football, I was a keeper. So if my eyes are on the ball, I know that if I don't focus on that ball, if I'm thinking about the 45 I just had, because the lowest grade in UI after 45 is fail. So if I'm thinking about the 45 I just had in a course, I cannot keep this ball. So my eyes are on the ball. Just something to make me focus on something else aside studies, basically.
We're still saying the same thing that you need to understand or know what keeps you out of the classroom or what keeps your mind off things. But what I would say is it gets overwhelming. Let me confess. I still cried like last week. Was it last week or this week? I still like really cried that I had my siblings worried. Why? Because it felt like things were not working my way. But it happens. That's me as a graduate, here to encourage or advise you. So it actually gets overwhelming. There's nothing anybody can tell you that it doesn't. It actually does. But what you do during and after really matters. If you are overwhelmed, how do you get off of it? For me, I really talk, right? I talk to people. I can call my siblings or they know, especially the last one that happened. They heard me cry and it just exploded from there. So I have people that I could really talk to that okay, I'm feeling this way at this point. And okay, what's the way forward? How do we go about this? How do we go about that? That's on one side. For Frafatoki, you can go Frafatoki's way. If there's something that you think would get your mind off whatever it is that you're feeling at the moment, do it. For some, it's seeing movies. You overload yourself with movies. Do it. But that anybody will promise you that you won't get tired, you won't feel discouraged, you won't feel overwhelmed. It's a lie. You will. And what I'm going to say is it's okay to feel, it's okay to not get it at first. It's okay to, take a step back. Like I always say, I did a lot of that personally when I feel like, okay, this direction that I'm going, is it good for me? let me think about it. Is there a better way to go about it? So I did a lot of rerouting, a lot of rethinking, and a lot of taking a step back. So all these things are things that you could do, right, to feel better part time. Also, there's a place of me prayer. There are times that that's what I have to do left. I lived in an estate, so sometimes you can walk by yourself and nobody would even see you. So sometimes I do long prayer walks and I cry myself to God. Shay, is this, have I made a mistake? So I did a lot of long prayer walks because that was what I believed in. What else? Yes, um, be close to your lecturers, right? Be discreet, right? But still have a good relationship with your lecturers. Some of the opportunities that I knew or that I have, I learned it or I got it from some of my lecturers. And yes, your relationship with your lecturers is not ending or does not end right on campus. It's just even starting from after campus, to be very honest. Except you don't want to use your German. If you want to use your German, you are going to need your lecturers. So you cannot feel like since you're done with school, you're done, and then you discard them. No, you have to hold your lecturers in high esteem and keep them close because they are still going to play a huge role. Right? Is there another thing? Yes, you still need people. We cannot overemphasize that one, right? You still need people. Enoch still sent me something the other day. You still need people. So you still have to keep good relationships on and off campus. You have to um yes, ask for what to do, ask for directions. Don't be scared to ask questions. Nobody gets off of knowing everything. Nobody knows everything, right? Where your own stops is where somebody's own started. So you have to be accessible to people and have access to a lot of people that can actually really help you. And also, yes, like they said, me, I carried fire on my head. So drop the fire on your head and be approachable as well. If you are the one that has access to things, be open to share and be willing to share, even if it doesn't work with you first. Be open to share opportunities and yes, it's not somebody told me it's not a competition. German opportunities is not a competition. If there's five of you that are qualified, five of you can get it. It's that good. So you're not competing with your friend, you're not competing with your next door neighbor. And all of us can fly. Don't worry. So that's
Okay.
that's it.
The takeout for me is be close to your lecturer then because you will still need them after graduation. I feel some people just okay,
And now
I'm not gonna use them till
doctor did this to
final.
me. I'm done now, so everybody can stay on their own. They
Exactly.
play.
So you'd always need your lecturers at one point or the other. Um okay, we're gonna skip this question. Okay. Oh no, let's go. The next question: how can students better position themselves now for scholarships or exchange programs or international opportunities? So, within few sentences, how do you think current students, language either at university or at the language school, how can they like propose position themselves for scholarships and language exchange opportunities or the international opportunities?
I will
Uh,
just get
Frau
get your
Fat-
B1, get your B2. If you can get a C1, best of God.
okay, Frau Fatoki?
Okay, so as for me, I hate to disagree, but I don't agree with Frau Ademola because one thing that is constant in Nigeria, especially, is that you can be the best student in your class, you can be the one that has the certificates, you can be this, you can be that. But if you don't put yourself out there, nobody will know. So something about me now is I'm not the best student in my class, but no matter where I am, if we speak, like if I say more than 10 sentences to you, on the 11th sentence, you would already know that I study German and I study French. You already hear it from me. So some people don't even know that I I don't have a certificate, or I didn't have a certificate, or I don't have this, I don't have that, before they realize that, okay, I studied drama. And to someone that doesn't really is not in the circle of German learners or students, they can't judge you or rate you or tell you you are the best or you are not the best. They just want to have that assurance that you know what you are doing and you know how you are going to do it. Same thing for also having good relationship with people that can put you on. So when I was in 200 level, like I said, my French is very rusty. So when I was in 200 level, I was just being introduced to serious French. I was done with Je m'appelle. I was already doing things that I was not even familiar with before. And one of my lecturers was given a slot to help a student write, was it B1 or B2 in French? And the person the man thought of was me. Why? Because I always greet him every morning. So it was when he came to ask me that, Alpha, would you like to be the person I recommend for this exam? And I had to decline because I knew at that point that if I wrote that exam, I was not going to pass it. I was still like A2, A1, just entering A2. So I knew I was going to waste that opportunity. But if I knew that French, would I have been able to write the exam? Yes, definitely. So I would say it's not the knowledge, but it's the networking. Like, let people know you for your skills, speak to people, let them know your needs, let them know what you want to do, because knowledge can only take you so far, but people take you further, basically. So have relationships with people, help them do stuff so that by the time you also need help, they will be willing to help you. So basically just keep relationships, like valuable relationships. Don't the saying that somebody will help you later in the future. Yes, God will not use the your helper to punish you, but at the same time, you can also chase your helper. So having relationships with people is very necessary.
And
Okay.
That's
I
how
had
to okay.
Yes, I'm not undermining the effect of relationships, right? But I'm saying, if you put yourself out there and you cannot defend what you're doing, that's two contradictory situations.
You
So
know, if I'm sorry, if I've applied for a job before, and I had everything they needed except one thing. And they asked me, do you have this thing? I said I've started learning. By the way, I had not started learning, but I knew that the period between the application and the time they needed me was like 1 month and some few weeks. So I told them, I'm not there yet, I've not been certified, but in the next 2 months, I'll be done with my training. And by that time, I would already have the skill you need me for. Trust me, I did not have that skill. So what I did was immediately after that interview, I started learning the skill. So at the time they needed me, I already had the skill they required from me, had the interview. So even if you don't have the knowledge, it's something that you can work on getting. So some people don't even care about the knowledge. You would see a third class student, a second class lower student getting opportunities that a first class student has never even heard of because they put themselves out there and they were ready for growth, basically.
again, I'm still not undermining the effect of relationships or putting yourself out there. But what I'm of the school of thought that there's something called preparation meets preparedness. I don't know if that's correct, but there are sometimes that there's no grace for you to say, "Oh, I'll be here in 2 months." There are sometimes that you don't have that grace to say, "Okay, I don't have this now, but I will be there in 2 months." For example, if two people apply for something, there's somebody that is already there, right? Um, the person has the experience, the person already has the proficiency or whatever they need. The person has all the qualifications that they need. But the person doesn't post, or the person doesn't say, "Oh, I'm doing this, I'm doing that," or whatever. And then the other person puts themselves out there, or they are vocal about what they are doing, but they don't have that qualification yet. See how that situation will pan out. Nobody knows. but it's better. I think it's better, to have what you need per what you're applying for. So if you put yourself in some positions, right, you cannot be rejected. You are irrejectable if that English is correct. So I'm not ruling out relationships or putting yourself out there, but sometimes preparation has to meet preparedness. That's what I'm saying.
Okay, thank
I
you
agree.
very much for those. I believe the audience can pick and work around the pieces. And next question: what role do you think Nagelss can play in supporting students and graduates, and how can people get involved? Okay, for people that are not familiar with what Nagelss is, it's basically an association of German language students and speakers, basically so that students and speakers of German can have, a community they can hold on to and, get access to opportunities as we grow and the like. So, what role do you think Nagelss can play, basically? Frau Joe, you want to go first?
It's nice to know that something like this is coming up, right? If some of us had this series as undergraduates, maybe we will not be where we are. We'll probably be better, but it's like I always say, it's not too late. So I think that it's a step in the right direction, right? If this continues, if somebody that didn't join series one can join series two, and they can still experience the same thing or probably more that series one did not have, but series two has. So yes, it's a good thing. It's progress. I think it's good progress, and it's a good way for people to come together. For example, I didn't know Frau Fatuki before today. Now I know her. And yes, I think that it helps us to know ourselves. We're not many, right? We're not, you're not a large number. So if we know ourselves from now, it helps us to build relationships, build bonds that you don't know where these things can take you. So yes, I think that this series, of course, we are voting for the continuity of the series, and of course, maybe what's it called now? I don't know how possible that can be, but maybe a more what's it called, in a more enclosed space, so that I don't say something that will perceived wrongly. So yes, but we hope that this series continues so that because people can say their experiences and we can get to meet one another, and yes.
Okay, thank you. And Frau Fatoki?
Okay, so I support what Frau Joe recommended, but I would also like to add that personally, as a person, this is like the second webinar or third webinar I've ever joined in my entire life. So I'm sure that there are thousands and millions of people like me. So as much as webinars are important and also play a large role in getting information out there, I would say Nagelss is an association, but it is people that make up this association. So the people themselves should like preach the things we want people to know outside them, like out there. They should, okay, as a person, naturally, tomorrow I'm sure that tomorrow I'll meet somebody on the road that will be telling to not tell their child to change the German that they gave the child to communication and language arts if the child wants the German. Like, my point is, I am always preaching that you should study a language, especially German, because in UI, German is hot cake, like opportunities overload. So I would say Nagelss as the people, not the body. Like when I mean body, I mean the organization. I mean the people that make up the organization should help to share information, any piece of information they get, let people know. And I'm sorry, but how can people get involved? The other part of the question, you said, how can people get involved? I did not really understand what context you were asking.
get involved, probably as speakers like you, volunteers, and food soldiers, ambassadors
For Nagelss or
for Nagelss, basically.
okay. So Nagelss is the Association of German Language Students. And I think even if I'm a German language student and I'm not part of the association, I'm still a German language student. I'm still a member unofficially,
Mm-hmm.
basically. So I would just say just be speaking of it. Like it shouldn't have to take an organization or a CAC registration of business kind of things to make you want to speak of it if you truly love it and think people deserve to know about it.
Thank you. Thank you. So, before we go, you've both been to Germany. What was your favorite meal or the favorite meal you tried in Germany? Quick one.
And I tried
Yeah,
a
in
German
Germany.
food that I tried.
Yeah.
Hmm. I didn't try a lot of meals or a lot of new food. And I think the only thing I had like consistently was anything with chicken in it. So I have not explored because I have trust issues. So whenever I have trust issues, especially with food, when I eat something that I'm not my body is not accustomed to, it's really scatters my stomach, if that makes any sense. So because we always had to go out early in the morning, come back late at night, I did not risk it. So any meal I thought I wasn't sure of, I didn't try it.
Okay.
I only ate anything that had chicken in it. So if I just taste the other one and I don't like it, which was no time, I liked other things, but so far it had chicken in it, I could eat it. And anytime I saw that I was not able to eat the food, I would just lock up, get to my room at night, drink gari or make concoction rice because I packed food. I packed rice. I took gari, granite, sugar, milk, cornflakes. So I was prepared for anything. So I didn't try new things.
Okay. Frau Joe?
I say two. Well, there's doner kebab. It was just on the road, grab and go. That was the quickest grab and go. But there was this sausage
I
and
didn't get to
chips.
try that. I wanted to, but I couldn't.
Mm.
You should have.
Most.
Um, there was this sausage and chips that were served at the Freiburg cafeteria, and it was very, very delicious. Me, I enjoyed it. So yes, apart from doner kebab, anyway.
Okay, so how can people connect with you? Should they want to connect with you?
Um,
Okay, so that means
Yeah, Professor K can
in
go.
my oh, is it me? Oh, okay. Okay, so I have various contact places, but on LinkedIn, my name is Fatoki Feluapo. On every other social media platform, IG, Twitter, and on and on. My username is Ife Olu, IFEOOLU. So on
Okay.
LinkedIn, I have my name, and on Twitter, on every other social media platform, Ife Olu.
Okay. And Frau Joe?
I think I want to respond to you faster with my mail because that's where the focus is at the moment. So you can reach me via my mail omoboladeojo@gmail.com. Instagram, every other place, just I didn't allow you find me. So,
Okay. Thank you so much for honoring our invitation. Maybe sometime later in the future would have something again that involves you. I would say. So have a great evening. Till next time. Auf Wiedersehen.
Have it as Thank you for having me.
having me as well. Cheers.
Ciao ciao.